Now then, people, it's Joe, it's all Leeds TV, and it's time for another opposition preview. And this week, I'm really excited to welcome Sarah to give us her thoughts on Everton. How are you doing, Sarah? All right?
Yeah, Joe, not too bad, thank you, mate. All things considered, looks like we're starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel in this madness as well, doesn't it? So, yeah, happy days. How about yourself?
Yeah, great. What are your thoughts on that then? Obviously, I don't know. I've read this morning that Leeds could still be in Tier 3, which means we wouldn't be allowed any fans in. I know it's been the same in and around Liverpool. So are you hopeful that... Do you know what team you're going to be in? Is there a chance you'll be in before Christmas, do you think?
I mean, I'm not sure. I've not paid too much attention to the news in the recent days, but I've obviously seen about the tiered thing, and I think is it the tier 1 would be 4,000
4,000,
maximum, and tier 2, and I think I've heard. Don't even know if it's confirmed. When do we find out what tier we're in?
Is it the 2nd of December? I assume anyway when we're out. Yeah.
Well, I think that I've got a feeling Liverpool might be in tier 2. We obviously were in tier 3 a bit before we even went into lockdown, and we've had the mass testing and stuff here. So if we were tier 2, that would mean 2,000 inside Goodison, and it's a start, isn't it? I think it would be a very strange feeling. I've been fortunate enough because I do the pre-match show with Everton. We film that inside Goodison Park for the home games, and then I leave afterwards. But I was able to stay and watch the West Brom game without fans, and it was great because it was James Rodriguez's first performance at Goodison Park. He scored, Calvert-Lewin scored a hat-trick, and that was great. A brilliant opportunity. But do you know what, Joe? Honestly, I felt guilty the whole time I was there. I felt like, where are the rest of the tribe? And, I think whether it's done in a balloting process or whatever they do, if there was 2,000, I don't know how I'd feel about going in. Yeah, I mean, I welcome fans back. I think we need fans back. So we've got to start somewhere.
Of course,
yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, we were talking about it last night on a show that we do amongst Leeds fans, and I was saying, like, this balloting system, knowing my luck, like, I want, obviously, Man United scum, as we call them, from across the Pennines, but I'll end up with Burnley or something, which I'd be fuming for. But yeah, it's just great to be back in. I think I was lucky enough. I did Match of the Day X the other week. They did like a special on Leeds, and I was able to go to Welland Road for the first time since Feb, even though there was no one in. It was just nice to be able to walk past my seat. I took a little picture of my seat. I was like, I miss you. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
But yeah, it's tough times, isn't it? But hopefully, like you say.
Yeah, we'll hopefully we'll all be back in. With this vaccine stuff and whatever, it looks like there's stuff happening, but yeah, it's a really strange thing. And like you said, going in the ground, it's just comforting to be able to be there. And same with Ellen Road, with it being such a old stadium and that, it's got an extra something about it, hasn't it? And can't wait to now that you're back in the Premier League as well. It's criminal, really, that there's no fans there. But when we are back, it's going to be rocking. I think it'll be a really, really special time when everybody's back in together. So look forward to that day.
And like I said, we'll stay here longer than the season, so don't worry, Sarah. You'll be able to come to Welland Road, I'm sure of it.
Cracking away day, that, mate. Can't wait for that one.
But let's talk about Everton then. Obviously, a bit like Leeds United, stopped the rut at the weekend. I know we didn't get 3 points, but it was a fantastic performance against Arsenal. But yeah, three losses on the bounce after that early great season form. And I think the first thing that I thought, Sarah, was your first 11's obviously, Pete, it's brilliant, but as soon as there's any sort of injuries or anyone outside of that drops out, Richarlison, for example, it seems to drop a level. Do you go along with that? Do you think you just need a couple more transfer windows to flesh it out, or?
Yeah, I think that's a spot-on analysis, that, Joe. It's exactly that. We got off to the perfect start. We'd won 4 on the bounce, then we drew with them lot at Goodison. Quite fortunately, with that. I mean, it was offside, but in today's game, it's all madness. But that kept us unbeaten. And I thought, right, now we push on. But what happened in that game, as you just referenced to there, was Richarlison got the red card for that tackle on Thiago. And that really, I feel, is what done us over for the following games. That, with the fact we missed Luca Dean as well. We've had Mason Holgate out injured, Andre Gomez. We were missing Alan, James Rodriguez as well for a game. So we've had a few injury suspensions, and as you said, I think it just really highlights the gulf in Everton between our preferred starting 11 and then get a few suspensions, you get a couple of injuries, and what we're left with then is not quite the height that we've seen. And yeah, it's when you get a start like that, you get carried away and you start going, right, you know, people are even talking about us for the bloody title sort of 4 games in, and, you know, but then I'm looking at and I'm going title, no, Champions League, maybe. And that arguably could still be there for Everton. But like you said, it's a project. And I think those 3 losses on the bounce really hit home that this is a huge task for Carlo Ancelotti. And it's going to take a few windows for us to get that strength in depth, really bed in and get that mentality. I'm sure Leeds have seen the same with Bielsa as well. You know, there's a winning mentality that these managers bring. And I think the players like James Rodriguez that have come in, Alan as well, these top quality players, they've got that winning mentality, but maybe the rest of the squad is still struggling a little bit. So when we do hit a bit of bad form like we have done, the heads drop again and we sink back into those old psychologies of not being able to get the wins. And so, yeah, like for Leeds, as you said, I thought they were fantastic against Arsenal on the weekend, did everything but put the ball in the back of the net somehow. And Everton got the win against Fulham. We made it bloody hard for ourselves, but you know, I think for both teams that was massive. So it should make for a really interesting game as well on Saturday.
So yeah, you mentioned there obviously some of the key players. Just how excited are you? I guess with Carlo Ancelotti being at the helm, it must be pinch yourself kind of thing, because I look at some of the other managers at the so-called top 6 clubs and some of the guys that they've got managing there. You're thinking, really, no disrespect to Everton, maybe Carlo Ancelotti should be at one of them clubs as opposed to, you know, these PE teachers that some of them have got in. And what a window as well that you had, Sarah. I mean, who's your, I guess, talk to me about Ancelotti, but also, like, who was your pick of the signings that you made over the summer?
Yeah, I mean, Carlo Ancelotti, as you said, coming to Everton, I think was a pretty big surprise for most people in football. I, like every other Evertonian, was delighted. I think we've seen Everton spend lots of money over the recent years, but we haven't had the right people in charge, and that's cost us ultimately. It starts for me at the top, and Everton, credit to the club, went out and got their man. He's obviously bought into the project. He's really embedded himself in the culture of Everton Football Club and the city and the fans and the people of this city. And I think he would love to achieve good things at this club. He loves the history. He's got the fact of the new stadium on the horizon. So I think we managed to get him by getting him to buy into this project. And through him coming in, we've already seen a vast improvement. I think the players that we already have, the most notable one is obviously Calvert-Lewin. I mean, top scorer in the Premier League so far. Everything he touched turns to gold. And of course, you know, the players we bring in, as you said there, I'm under no illusions that we would have James Rodriguez playing in an Everton shirt if we didn't have Carlo Ancelotti. Probably the same goes for Alan. And in terms of those summer signings as well, I think it has to be James that you go with, because of he's one of the greatest footballers. I mean, a World Cup Golden Boot winner. Is just a joy to watch. One of the best left foots in the game, makes magic things happen. But also Decore and Alan. I think last season, Everton, we didn't have a midfield, really. There was no bite in that midfield, and those two coming in has really helped. So, yeah, I think James for me, and as you say, if someone would have said to me 5 years ago, Joe, in 5 years' time, you're going to, well, not even that. We had Sam Allardyce not that long ago. You know, you've got Sam Allardyce, Allardyce and Sammy Lee in the dugout. And now we've got Carlo Ancelotti and James Rodriguez playing out there. It's brilliant. And it's such an exciting time. And I think as fans, we need to sort of ground ourselves a little bit. You know, when we do have the losses and we hit a bit of bad form, like, it's not going to be amazing overnight. I think we've got to get back into Europe. Maybe Champions League might be a little bit too far. I still think we can do it, but get back into Europe and give the man time to build, because when you've got Carlo Ancelotti in charge, you know, you start to believe anything's possible, really.
Yeah, I can relate so much, you know, like, obviously we've got Bielsa, like, what a real coup to get him to drop to the Championship initially, and we all thought we'd maybe get him one season, and now, you know, we're now going into we're in our 3rd season with him, so it's genuine pinch yourself moment. I have to remind everyone, like, you know, especially the younger generation, to enjoy it, because he ain't going to be here forever, and when he moves on, does it get to a point when we're looking at the likes of Allardyce, etc., to try and keep us in the division? I highly doubt it. You know, but, you know, them times could come. But yeah, I was going to ask you, that was going to be a question that I asked. Do you think, obviously, if Carlo Ancelotti's here at Everton, do you bring that calibre of player in? And, you know, you've said yourself it's highly unlikely. I'm a massive fan of Alan. You know, I think he's great. He's just class. And like you said, he's had some real metal in there, especially alongside Doucouré. So you've got a great 11. That's the thing. Yeah. It's a great 11, isn't it? You touched on Richarlison earlier. I think, is it like 9 games he's been out and you haven't won a single game? So I guess, is he playing? Hopefully not at the weekend, Sarah. Are you at full strength for the weekend?
I think somebody that's likely still missing and is a huge loss. It's not Richarlison, unfortunately for you guys. Fortunately for us, I think he will be in that starting 11 because he is absolutely paramount to us getting positive results. Seamus Coleman, though, captain, right back. I think defensively and offensively, we really have noticed he got an injury in the Merseyside derby. I think he came back in maybe 1 game since, but he's been out injured again, which is massively frustrating. But Richarlison, as you said, we haven't won a game since he signed for the club 2 years ago in which he hasn't played, which is bad. Like you said, I think it's like 9 games. Yeah. Bad. And then again on the weekend, he was back, less than a minute played, and he's already got himself an assist for Calvert-Lewin. Like, that's what he does. But yeah, if Coleman's missing, that could be a big blow. But I think, you know, we should have the likes of Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, James, Alan, Doucouré.
When you mentioned these players, I'm a bit like, oh.
I know, but then the same for Leeds equally. Like, I look at Leeds and I'm terrified. You know, I think Patrick Bamford is just fantastic. Rafinha, there's so many players in that starting 11 that can hurt us. And you know, watching that Arsenal game, as I said, and I've watched a lot of Leeds this season where I can because I think they're an exciting team to watch. I don't know how you didn't get the 3 points on the weekend. And I think that'll be.
Yeah, it felt like a loss, genuinely. Like, after the game and doing my review, and I'm like, it feels like a loss. Like, it's so frustrating to think we had 25 attempts. I mean, we hit the post crossbar like 3 or 4 times and absolutely battered Arsenal. I think, if anything, I know it sounds mad, but the red card helped them because it enabled Arteta to go to his usual style. It felt a little bit like he'd bend to the fans a little bit in playing Aubameyang through the centre, starting Pepe, going 4-3-3 as opposed to this 5 at the back. I've heard some Arsenal fans call him the Tapas Pulis. So, yeah, which I thought was class. So a lot of them aren't, you know, happy with him. And then when the red card happens, he's then able to go into that favoured system. And it was just attack v defence. And we were just so unlucky on the day. But it gives us renewed confidence, you know, because after getting pumped 4-1 by Leicester and Palace, and this is the thing as well. I think after that, the media narratives, or Leeds can't defend, but it's not true. It's just sometimes Bielsa's football goes up against certain systems, and we will find that if we don't take opportunities, we can be on the end of hidings. But that's, you take the rough with the smooth. That's, you know, we're willing to accept that. Yeah, but just how do you see the game going then at the weekend? Obviously, you've mentioned you're nervous. Obviously, vital you got the win against Fulham. Without, you know, like you said, it wasn't easy in the end, you know, hanging on kind of thing. But how do you see the game unfolding at the weekend?
Honestly, Joe, it's, as you just said there, I am nervous for this one. And, you know, as we've just been speaking about that Arsenal game, and as you said, the amount of times he's hit the woodwork and the chances that he's had, absolutely battered Arsenal. And I'm in agreement that red card allowed them to sit back then and just try and absorb attack after attack, and they managed somehow to get through it. But I'm thinking that's gonna be on every Leeds player's mind as well. That they kind of didn't get the result they deserved ultimately on the weekend, but it was a superb performance, and that now it's about getting to Everton and trying to get the win. I think if we set up on Saturday with like 3 at the back, and we had Iwobi playing at right wing back and Luca Dean playing as left wing back, and that worked in the first half very well.
Iwobi at right wing back.
He was right wing back, and he was. Do you know what though? Best we've seen him play ever, probably. Honest to God, is the best I've seen Iwobi play. Right wing back, madness. But I think again, like you just said, you can be on the back hidings when certain systems don't work. I think that worked against Fulham. Whether Ancelotti will go with that or revert more back to like your typical 5 at the back, we'll have to wait and see. But I feel like if we go 3 at the back, we could leave ourselves really exposed to Leeds, who play some beautiful football and are brilliant in the attack. So, God, it's a tough one. I think we might see Everton play a little bit more cautiously, try and keep a bit of possession, and you can't see Leeds not scoring. So I think it's going to be. I could see it being a 3-2 or something on either side. But again, we'll have to wait and see how both teams set up. Bielsa versus Ancelotti.
Yeah, it's going to be good, isn't it? Yeah, definitely.
See how they both set up and what they're trying to do to counteract each other. If there's going to be any curveballs thrown in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to say an Everton win, but you know, if we get a win, I'll see that as a massive 3 points, because I think it's going to be, for me so far, Leeds on their day are one of the best teams to watch in the league, and I think we're going to have to be at our absolute very, very best to get the win on Saturday.
Love that, Sarah. Love that praise. Class. But you're right. I mean, Richarlison scares the living daylights out of me, if I'm being totally honest, especially on the counter. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, like you touched on earlier, whenever he's in that box, I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's going in the back of the net. So I think the key thing from a Leeds perspective is when we do get our opportunities, we can't afford to perform like we did against Arsenal. Although we didn't perform bad, we just need to be clinical and we need to take them opportunities. I just feel we're really unlucky against Arsenal. But, you know, Everton are going to get chances in this game. And sometimes maybe the level of quality is what's lacking at Leeds. Do you know what I mean? After maybe a couple more windows, because I mean, this window, obviously, we bring in Rodrigo, Rafinha. These are players we couldn't have dreamt of previously, you know. So I think just making that step up enables you to bring them in. And I think that's what's lacking at the moment. Maybe just that level of quality, you know, and especially in the players that we can bring into the game to affect it. But from a Leeds player perspective, is there anyone you look at and you're fearful of going into the game?
Rafinha, as you just said there, I think is absolutely superb. And Bamford as well. Every time he plays, I just feel like he's in and around those right areas, and he's a real threat. To be honest, there's 4 or 5 players in that Leeds team that I feel that you've got to be wary of all the time. So I'm cautious, and as we said, because the Leeds didn't actually put the ball in the back of the net on the weekend, I can imagine training this week. It's all about being clinical. It's all about and we've seen ourselves. You know, I actually personally feel sorry for him, given the way the media have kind of thrown him to the hounds, and the way Klopp and his players have been talking about Pickford since that tackle in the derby. He's had to get private security for him and his family home because it's been that bad. So, you know, he's still, I feel bad on him, but he's got a mistake in him as Pickford, as we've all seen as fans. And I think Leeds, with the threat that they carry up top, he's got to be at his very best, because he's going to need to be. Great shot stopper though, Jordan Pickford, but his decision making sometimes based on confidence and other things can be a bit off. I mean, I'm hoping he has a blinder in goal, but the threat that Leeds carry, I think the goalkeeper could be a person that they're looking to exploit, you know, set pieces and that kind of thing. I think that could cause trouble for Everton.
You don't need to worry from set pieces, Sarah. We're absolutely gash at them. Trust me.
Oh, thank you. I feel better now.
Don't worry about them, honestly. Probably saying that now. We'll score from one.
You will. You'll get a corner now on Saturday, and I'll be going, bloody Joe told me they were useless.
We did a watch along before, and Calvin scored an absolute peach of a free kick. I mean, it's very.
Calvin, of course.
He doesn't score them very often, but I was sat there going, just give it someone else, and he pinged it in the top corner. So, at my words.
I love it when that happens.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, funny you should mention Bamford. Obviously, he takes a bit of stick prior to coming up. There was a lot of players and a lot of people in the media, a lot of fans, to be fair. Me at times as well, didn't think maybe he'd be able to quite cut it in the Prem, and he's shut us all up. I seen a stat the other day, he's the only Premier League striker to get a shot on target in every game. I know it doesn't convert to goals, but it's still decent enough for him to have that stat. But what I'm going to ask you for, Sarah, is just a score prediction. I think did you say 3-2? Are you gonna stick with that?
Yeah, I think I am going to go with 3-2, Joe, because like I said, I think Leeds carry real threat. They're going to be going with fire in the bellies now after the frustration of the weekend. And I just hope that Everton can score more than Leeds on the day ultimately, but it should be a really, really tasty game. That said, it's Saturday evening kickoff. That it's, you know, a big tasty one. It be 0-0 or something again.
Just cancel each other out.
It could be.
Yeah.
You don't know with these two exceptional coaches as well. So now I'm gonna go for a big scoring one. I'm gonna go 3-2 Everton.
Nice. I don't want to quite call it yet because I genuinely don't know how it could go. This one, you know. The Arsenal one, I genuinely thought we would beat them. I was confident for it. But one thing we need to get a win, to be honest, because we've then got Chelsea, and it's a team, Leeds United, and Chelsea have a rivalry, and obviously Lampard, I can't stand the man and all that sort of stuff. So we just need to get a win on the board because, we need 3 points on the board, and then we can sort of see what we get away at Chelsea. But thank you so much for coming on, Sarah. Honestly, it's been a great chat. Where can we find you? What can we catch you doing?
Yeah, so I'll actually be doing, again, it might not be for Leeds fans watching this because it will be slightly biased. If you go on Everton's official YouTube on Saturday, I'll be doing a pre-match show into that, but we will have a little bit on Leeds in that, of course, as well. On Twitter, you can get me at Sarah Halpin9. You can get me on YouTube, Sarah Halpin, The Bird is Blue, and Facebook the same. Just catch me about.
Just smashing the game, aren't you, mate? You're just smashing the game. Thank you so much. And as I said, make sure you check out Sarah's stuff, and hopefully we'll beat Everton at the weekend, but we'll have to wait and see.